Hey there, fellow marketers, Professor Wolters here, and today we're going to talk about developing a marketing plan. And if you're not sure what a marketing plan is this is a plan that really shows people what we're planning on doing, what products we're going to launch, do we understand our market, this is who we're going to be targeting with this product or service, this is why we're going to succeed, here's how we're going to do it, here's the money we need to make it happen, and here's what we're going to do to make sure that it's a success, and also our measurements if it is a success, okay? All that together is your marketing plan. It is the raison d'etre, the reason why we're here, the reason why we're doing things. And so when you're developing a marketing plan, it really helps because when you have one, it really gives you direction. Like, what should we be doing in this situation? What are we trying to do? Your marketing plan gives you that direction. It gives you that explanation. Why is it that we're expanding the value menu? Why is it that we're having the teaser trailer out 6 months before the video and then the trailer out 3 months before the movie comes out? Why are we doing these things? The marketing plan explains that, okay? So you really want to help it. And really, another thing that it does for us, it really helps us assess our goals as a company, but also helps us assess the industry and the marketplace overall so we have a better chance of success. Because if you're trying to go to market and sell something and you haven't done a marketing plan, do you really know who the competition is? Do you really know what's going on? Do you know what their pricing is? Do you know like where people sell? You need to have those things in there in your marketing plan. And so we're going to go through the steps of a marketing plan. And what you have to realize, marketing plans are not just for marketers, okay? The sales team does that. Yes, the marketing team's that, but also the management team, the financing team, because they need to know when are the sales going to be coming in? Like, when is this project going to launch so we know when sales money is going to come in so we can factor that into our budget. All these things go together. Everyone has to be a part of it. And so if we kind of look at the makeup of one, okay, and I'm going to go through like the makeup when you would read one, it's not necessarily the order that you would actually do it, because the first thing you're going to do is have an executive summary. This is the most important piece of paper in your marketing plan, okay? The thing is though, you write it at the very end after you've done everything. And so what an executive summary does, it really gives you the most important parts. It's like if you're on Wikipedia and you go look up a movie, it gives you the plot points. It tells you, oh, he's dead at the end. Vader was actually Luke's father. It gives the spoilers away, and it really gets people enticed because then they want to learn more. Like, oh, I like these recommendations they have. I like their insights here. I want to read more. But the thing is, sometimes your bosses might not have time to read your whole marketing plan. They want to see, like, give me the rough idea. That is that executive summary. That gives people all the main goals, all the main recommendations, all the kind of key points are going to be on that kind of one-page executive summary, so people have that. I mean, it could be longer, but you have that kind of like condensed version. That's the first thing, but it's written last, okay? Now, the first thing you want to really do, and then the next part that comes in there, is you want to look at your current market situation, okay? You really got to show that you understand the marketplace, because honestly, if you don't know what's going on out there, like, why should anyone listen to you? Like, let's understand, let's get a view of the field. Let's see where the things, oh, that part of the field's got bad grass, and that part of the field is all bumpy, so I need to know what to do. It's the same thing in sports, it's the same thing here, in marketing. So we look at that. So what you're going to get is you're going to put information on the market, okay? So what are the products that are going to be offered, but what are the products that are already on offer by our competition? And in here, what we're going to do is we're going to describe our target market. Who are those perfect customers? And not just, these are the perfect customers. Here's our secondary customers after they're done. The third, like, you're going to show the kind of profile of each of the customers that are going to get the biggest bang for their buck with your product. And that's why it's important in this first part of this current market situation, you're going to explain your value proposition. What makes your products or your services so dang special? You're going to put that in here. And why is it different? And how is it different than the competition? Because if you just say, oh, I'm making a burger that's got bun, burger, bun, like, what's the difference between the Big Mac? What's the value proposition there? Tell us something more special about it. You're going to lay it out there. And that's why it's really important that you have a thorough review of the competition, what they have on offer, what they're doing, how they react to competition when they come out with things. Because if you don't understand what the competition's doing, you're going to lose. Okay, that's one thing. When I look at marketing plans, I'm like, what's your competition doing? Oh, we have no competition. Our product is so revolutionary, no one has anything like it. I'm like, no, there's people that have stuff similar enough to it that it will be seen as competition. So you need to know what they're doing. And honestly, I've had this conversation with too many businesses to say, look, you are not the only person in the world that does X. Okay, so you need to make sure you look at the competition that's doing the Y and the W that are close enough that people are like, that is a difficult letter to do in my alphabet game. And then the the next thing you're going to look at is you're going to look at your distribution needs. What is it going to take to get your product out into the market? Because I might want to sell my product. I'm like, yo, yes, these Wolters World t-shirts would be fantastic, but how am I going to get them to the market? I mean, Walmart's not going to say, yes, we would love to carry your t-shirts, Mark. No, probably not. You got to look at it and say, here's the markets we're going to go to. Here's what we need to do to get on Walmart shelves. Here's what we need to do to get on Amazon Marketplace. Because that's the thing you have to look at. Is it doesn't matter how great your product is. If it's not on the shelves or it's not online and people can't buy it, then it doesn't really exist. And that's why I think probably the most important marketing tool, the most important marketing model you could use to get yourself ready, to prepare yourself to do better, is a SWOT analysis. And we have a whole video that goes through the SWOT analysis like really in depth. And what it does is you really look at the internal strengths and weaknesses of your business, like what do we do well and what can we do to be stronger and be better at it. And these are our weaknesses and this is what we need to do to improve it. But also we look outside our company and say, wait, here are the opportunities that are out there for us. We could do this and this, and here's our strategy to take and seize those opportunities. But also you look at the threats. Okay, what are the threats to our business that we need to be ready for? And here's our strategy for that. And the thing is, a lot of businesses will do SWOT analysis. You might do it for a student organization, you might do it for your business, but all they do is list things. Look, a true SWOT analysis is not just a list of this is what we do well, and this is why we're doing poorly. No, here's what we do well, here's how we make it stronger. Here's what we're doing badly, here's what we're gonna do to improve it. And that's what you have to do. You're gonna put that into your marketing plan to show that, look, we know what we're doing wrong and we're gonna improve it. We know what we're doing right, and here's how we're gonna make it stronger. And we know where those opportunities are. And so you put that in your marketing plan as well, okay? And after you've done this kind of background research of the current market situation, and you really internally looked at yourself and your market, now you start to put together your objectives of your marketing plan, the objectives and the goals you have with this marketing plan. What is it you're planning to do with this marketing plan? Is it to grow sales? Is it to improve your image? Is it to change people's perception? I mean, think about it. A few years ago when Old Spice came out with the Old Spice guy, totally changed the image. The whole thing was our marketing plan is to change Old Spice from this is grandpa's deodorant to, hey, we're cool and hip. I mean, that's a whole marketing plan that went into that. And that was their whole objective. And so what you have to realize is not every marketing plan is to sell more beer or to sell more soda or to sell more burgers. Sometimes the marketing plan is to get people to believe something or to change their perception. So you want to put that down in there. Also, this part is where you're going to be segmenting your market. Here's where you really lay it out is, hey, who are the groups we're going to be targeting, the first, second, thirds. We're going to go more in depth of how we're going to do that. We're going to have goals for each one of those. Because I know we said, here's the other target markets we had in the first part, but now we're going to say how we're going to target them, why we're going to target them, what's going to be special about us that's going to get them to buy, okay? And then after that, your next step in your marketing plan is come up with your overall marketing strategy. Like, what is your logic? What is your thinking behind your overall marketing plan? Are we going to be trying to create value in their eyes? The whole 4 Ps kind of stuff, product, price, place, promotion, that's going in there to really help us kind of define what we're going to be doing. And we're really kind of come up with the main point of our strategy. Here's where you really lay it out. Now, once we have all this put together, now it's time for some actions. And we're going to put together our action plan. And our action plan is all about those W words. What are we going to do? Who are we going to sell to? Why are they going to buy us? How are we going to get to it? I know H is not a W word, but those question words, this is where we're really putting that in. Like, what will actually be done? What will actually cost? We're putting that in there. When will the product be available? When is it going to be available in different markets? When is the movie going to be released? When is the DVD going to be released? When is the Blu-ray released? When is the streaming? When does it go to Netflix? All this stuff kind of goes in there, okay? And this is what we actually set in that plan for those 4 Ps. The products, price, place, promotion, where we're gonna sell it, all that. This is where you actually lay it out, okay, in the action plan of how it's gonna be there. And then the next thing you're gonna look at with your marketing plan is your budgeting. Like, money does matter. I'm not gonna lie to you. You can't just do this stuff. You gotta pay to be there. You gotta pay for these new products. You gotta pay to have people to do your marketing research. This is important. So we have to think about the projected costs that we have the budget for, but also we have to do a projection of our revenue that's going to come in, because we can say is it worth this investment? Like, if I would, invest $10,000 to make the Professor Wolters website fantastic, how much more money would I make from that? Like $5. So maybe it's not worth the cost. And so here you really kind of put it in like, look, where's the money outflow is going to go out, but what's it going to bring back to me? Your ROI, your return on investment, how's that going to be in there? Okay, so you have your budgeting in there. And then of course, once you have all this kind of action plans and budgeting done and all this kind of stuff, now you really have to look at your control. You got to make sure is the marketing plan really working? You got to set it out there. What is it's working? Because it's working. If you say, oh, we're going to sell more, well, if you sell one more product, I mean, your increasing sales is working. No, you got to put it out there. Look, we expect a 20% increase in sales. We expect to sell 55, kayaks to be out on the river and stuff like this. We really want to put that in there because you really want to figure out was your marketing plan a success or a disaster? Because it really is about perspective. Because if I tell you, oh, this movie made $500 million, I'm like, $500 million? Oh my God, it must have been a success. Well, if it's an independent made romantic comedy that made $500 million, yes, everyone in that person's family is going to be rich. But if I tell you, oh no, it's a Justice League movie with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash, like $500 million, that's it? That kind of sucks for box office. And that's where you really got to lay it out. What really is a success and what is a disaster, okay? That's why you want really solid numbers. And that's why when you lay it out, you want to be more concrete. Like, this is what happens if we don't meet these numbers. This is what happens if we do meet these numbers. This is where you get the bonuses, and this is where you lose your job. You really want to put those things in there. I mean, maybe not the part about losing their job, but this is what didn't really work, okay? So metrics really are needed so we can really figure out the characteristics and the trends we need to be looking for. That's why ROI is important, return on investment is important. That's why when you look at movies, they say, oh, our projections for the first weekend is based on the IMDb views on, figure out the ratings that are going to be important. Is it, oh, we see the number of subscribers or views on our trailer, that will really give us an idea of if this is going to be a success. We do that. And the thing is, this is where you can use your usual financial numbers, return on investment, return on sales. You might see inventory turnover, profit margins, those things you might be using in order to gauge if it's a success or a failure. And the thing is when you're doing this, you also need to assign responsibility for those metrics. Whose fault is it if it doesn't work? Who is the person that gets the success? This is why you'll say, okay, our Branson office has to sell 50,000 copies, and our Chicago office has to sell 1 million copies. You put those things in there. And the thing is that when you're doing this, you might be basing your control off of previous metrics, because you might look at it in terms of like DVD sales or something like that. Look, on the last Superman movie, you sold 10,000 copies. So we expect the next one to do even better. So we expect 11,000 copies. You're kind of based on what happened before to give you an idea. And that's why it's really tough when a new product comes out. We're not sure what's going to happen. That's why if you look at in terms of movie theaters and movies coming out, it's always, Spider-Man 17 and Avengers 24 and things like that. Because, hey, look, I know what Avengers has done before, so I have an idea what it's going to do in the future. But if you come up with something new, I don't know if it's going to be a success or not. I mean, I think back 20-some years ago when The Matrix came out, the original Matrix, and it made decent money, but it didn't make like Star Wars money. But it was probably the most influential science fiction movie that's come out in the last 25 years. And you're like, wow. But if you look on Star Wars numbers, it was a failure. But for an independent, just starting out, no one knew what to expect movie, it was a huge success. And that's why it's important is when you look at it, sometimes it's not just the numbers, it also could be the adaption numbers or the merchandise sales or whatever. And that's why it's really important, because you can look at our product portfolio and see that, wow, this product is really doing way better than other products. How can we use that to be more successful? That's where you come up with your brand extensions. It's kind of like why you have Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Like, they don't just call it Justice League because Batman and Superman are just big names. We want to use that, right? And that's why when you see like Avengers movies, they were always showing before Tony Stark, was no longer there. They were like using him so much that, look, if we put Tony Stark, if we put Robert Downey Jr. in there, then we know it's going to do well. Hello, Spider-Man Homecoming. It really helped having him there to boost the profile. And the rumors he's going to come back. We don't know. Hopefully he does. I don't know. But you see how that can really influence things, okay? Because our product portfolio will be different, and so you will have different marketing plans for different products. So for universities, they'll have a marketing plan for a degree or for a college or for the development office trying to bring in donations. They have different marketing plans. So don't think it's just one marketing plan for the whole business. You can have it divided up just for individual projects, okay? So I hope this helps you have an overall idea of what a marketing plan is, but also how you can develop one, because honestly, what a marketing plan does for you as a business owner, it really gives you that direction. Now I know what I need to do. Now it's no longer like, what's next? What should we do? Do I know everything? No. You lay it out there so you have it like, look, I knew the competition would do this. If I do this, I know they're going to do that. It gets you more prepared. So I hope this does help you. If you did like this, give us that like, give us a thumbs up, maybe subscribe if you want to learn more, and we wish you all the best. I'll say bye from here on Tybee Island in Georgia. I am now going to go sweat someplace else because it's like 95 degrees and I'm not built for 95 degrees. Bye.